Hi, I'm Russ Jones from the Smoky Ribs YouTube channel, and I watch the Cooking Everything Outdoors show with Gary House.
Hey everyone, today on the Cooking Everything Outdoors show, we're cooking up a pork tenderloin with roasted red potatoes, fresh herbs, and a cast iron skillet, and it is delicious. The Outdoor Cook, Cooking Everything Outdoors show. I hope you try this at home. So first things first, let's go over the ingredients. So our main ingredients for the pork loin roast is, I have a pork tenderloin here. It is, I don't know, it might be 2 pounds. It's probably 1.5 pounds, somewhere in that range. I have 5 red potatoes, which I've sliced about 1/8 to 1/4 inch. Most of them are closer to the 1/4 inch size. I have 1 yellow onion that I've made half rings with. About 10 of the small sweet bell peppers, and these I've just sliced up as so. A couple sprigs of thyme, rosemary, and sage. So when this is minced up, it's going to be about 2 tablespoons. So that's what I'm looking for there. Now for the potatoes, I will also need 1/2 teaspoon of coarse ground black pepper and 1/2 teaspoon of coarse salt, 3 cloves of garlic minced, and about 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. For the pork loin tender, I will also need 2 cloves of garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of coarse ground black pepper and coarse ground salt, and about 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. So let's prep our herbs, get those nice and minced up. So on our sage, we just want the leaves. Make sure these are fresh. You certainly could use dry, but I like using the fresh herbs in this recipe because it's a fairly quick cook. And fresh herbs work perfectly in quick cooks. Where if it was a longer stew or a simming process, then we would not want to use fresh rosemary, thyme, or sage. So basically I'm just peeling the herbs against the grain, and do the same thing on the thyme. Slide your fingers along it. So this should give us roughly 2 tablespoons. Get in there and get those sage leaves chopped up a little bit first. So what we have here is approximately 2 tablespoons of fresh herbs. 1/2 tablespoon roughly is going to our potatoes. And then the rest is going to go to our pork tenderloin. Preparing the roasted red potatoes is super easy. We're just going to take all the prepared ingredients, dump them in a pot, and mix them up. And actually it's not a pot, it's a bowl. So first thing, we'll add our potatoes. Add our peppers, really colorful and pretty. Our onions. We want our salt and pepper in there. Our garlic. Our fresh herbs. And we're looking at about 1/4 cup of olive oil in there to get these all blended up. And what's the best way to blend them up? Got to get your hands in there. We're just going to get all those flavors blended together and married up. And once you think that everything's fairly well coated, set it aside and we'll work on our pork tenderloin. So to prepare our pork tenderloin, what I want to do is I want to brown up the money shot. And what I mean by the money shot is basically the surface of the pork loin that I'm going to present. So we just want to add a couple tablespoons of that olive oil in there. And then we want to put our pork tenderloin in there. I just want to get that browned up for a few minutes. Once it's browned, and really it's only just a couple minutes, I want to pull this bad boy off. Now we're going to mix up our wet rub, and I'm going to pull the skillet off the heat because I don't want to really burn that oil and that flavoring that I have in there. So I want to set this aside. For our wet rub, we want to add our fresh herbs, our garlic, our salt and pepper, and our olive oil. And I'm going to probably go maybe with a tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm just going to get in there and I'm going to mix that up. And what I just want to make a sort of a wet paste with it, get it blended really well. And then we're going to take our paste and we're going to liberally apply it over the top of this. Get as much as possible to stick. Now let's put our dish together. I'm going to add the pork loin and the red potato mixture into this cast iron skillet, and we're going to bake it. All right, into our still hot skillet, we're going to place our pork loin, and then I want to add my potato mixture in there, right on the sides. And we're just going to fill this area up. Just like that. So I'm going to bake my skillet dish for about 30 minutes until the pork tenderloin reaches about 145 internal temperature. The potatoes might not quite be finished yet, but that's okay. So I'm going to bake it. And how am I going to bake it? I'm going to be using the Camp Chef pizza oven to bake this. So our pizza oven has an internal temperature of about 450 degrees right now, which is a little hotter than I need it. I'm going to put the skillet in there, and as this skillet is coming to temp, I'm going to turn the pizza oven temp down. This skillet is going to go in there like it's nobody's business. I'm going to turn my burners on my Camp Chef big gas grill down, and I'm going to monitor the temperature because what I'm looking for is an internal baking temperature of about 375 degrees in there. The pork loin is at 145, 150 depending on where I'm shooting a probe in at it. Now the potatoes aren't quite done yet, and that's part of the magic of this, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my pork loin roast out and I am going to let it rest. Now, there's a lot of good juice and flavor in there, so I'm going to give this a good mix. Put this back in the Camp Chef pizza oven to finish baking for probably about another 15 minutes. I'm going to put a foil temp over my pork loin so that doesn't get cold on me, and I think we're going to serve. So we've had another 15 minutes go by, and just take a look at these potatoes. They've softened up. The onions have caramelized beautifully. They're nice and tender, ready to go. Let's get our pork loin back in there and we'll serve this up. Here we go. That is one delicious sizzling pan of goodness. And what I want to do is get my pork tenderloin back on there. And that, my friends, is ready to serve. I hope you like this. I'm going to cut this in half, put it on a plate, take it over to my neighbor who fell and broke her arm at the shoulder. But anyway, thanks for watching this Gary House Cooking Everything Outdoors show. Take a second to thank my sponsors, Outdoor Cooking and Camp Chef and Island Grillstone. Without them, none of this would be possible. Go over and give them your support and tell them that Gary House sent you. See you later.